Over the past few years, music on vinyl records has definitely made a comeback, and the folks at the Birthplace of Country Music Museum and WBCM Radio Bristol there at the Birthplace of Country Music are on the forefront of bringing you all you need to know when it comes to listening to great music on vinyl with a show hosted by our next guest. The show is called Pressing Matters, and we are happy to have Clint Holley with us this morning. Good morning, Clint. How you doing?
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Pressing Matters. I mean, I love the fact that vinyl is making a comeback, and it really has over the past 3 or 4 years.
It's actually been about a decade,
yeah,
plus a few years actually, since it kind of started bubbling under the surface.
It did.
And then with people like Adele now, it's blowing up way into the mainstream.
And you, Pressing Matters, tell us about that show. What do you do with your show?
Well, the show is kind of a walk through my record collection. It's a love letter to vinyl records. It's something that I started. It's funny that they had just mentioned going to flea markets and all that. I did that a lot with my parents when I was a kid, and you know, it was when records were going out of fashion, when CDs were coming in. I bought a lot of records for 10 cents a piece at that time, and so I've accumulated that. So the show is about my record collection, new releases that artists are releasing on vinyl, and then re-releases that companies are putting out of classic albums.
You know, I think that some people, you know, they gotten so used to digital downloads and things of that nature that hearing that needle go on a record for the first time, it's a sound that I still remember to this day, and I think the people are starting to get the joy of that again.
Well, you know, it's a tactile experience.
It is.
You know, you interact with the record, you look at the artwork, you put the record on. It's kind of like a ritual almost, and you drop that needle on, and that's the beginning of my show, is the sound of a needle hitting the record, because that's the sound people love.
I love that. And you brought some vinyl with you today, and it's all genres. I mean, and the fact of the matter is they're doing some fantastic things with the album covers and with the actual vinyl records themselves. Right. And you're going to show us a couple of things.
Yeah, I'll be happy to show you a few here. This is, you know, a current re-release. I actually found this, I think, at Target recently. You know, so Amy Winehouse, Back to Black. You know, what's unique about this particular record is
look at the color.
You know, they pressed it on pink vinyl, and you know, this isn't your grandfather's Johnny Cash record anymore, you know. So, you know, we got that, and then
although I loved my grandfather's Johnny Cash
there's nothing wrong with that, and that's what people are getting into. And then you know, here's another special one here. There's people that make called you know, art pressings these days, and part of what's driving this whole resurgence is it's not a black record, but this record is actually called Old Loves and Old Memories, and they actually pressed love letters into the record. And that paper that's in there, it doesn't stick out of the record. This is a perfectly playable record that you can put on your turntable.
It's beautiful. Yeah. It's a work of art. It really is.
Well, I think the experience is different for people now in this generation. You know, back then it was a commodity when it was all just black records. Now you have to do something a little special to get people's attention, I think.
What do you think spurred the return to vinyl?
Well, it's more fun.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and the advent of digital downloading and stuff on your phone and stuff like that, it takes, I think, some of that experience away from it. And I think the generation of people that were never exposed to vinyl records in the first place saw it as a novelty. And then some of the people that were older see it as a nostalgic kind of thing. So you have this kind of mishmash of those two ideas, and all of a sudden you have an industry that was once left for dead, like, raging to the surface again.
Exactly. And the thing I love about it is you got the album cover. You actually have liner notes in there. You got other things that make the whole experience of listening to the album.
Well, and that's, as a kid, that's what made the big difference to me when I got, like, I remember getting my first Neil Young record, you know, and I looked at the artwork in his jeans, and then all of a sudden you find out, where was this recorded? And then you learn what a producer is, and you learn about songwriters and all that, and it's very, it's a wormhole that you can never get out of that.
Oh, wow. Clint, I wish we had more time, but we're going to give, thanks for stopping by today.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
And you know, we want to plug the WBCM app. That's how we want people to listen to the show, Thursday nights at 6 o'clock.
And we got that information for you right here on the screen. It is WBCM Radio Bristol, 100.1 FM, but you can listen to it on the app as well, Thursday, 6 p.m. If you need more information, go to listenradiobristol.org.